I'm going to show you what I think is the best video rig for the money on the market today. And I'm also going to give you some advice on camera equipment and video equipment for YouTube. So stick around and find out what it's all about. Hi. Welcome back. Thanks for clicking and thanks for watching. Today, I'm going to show you the cinematic video rig that I use to do all the Roosters road trip videos, the cinematic videos we do here on Roosters road trips. I'm going to show you the different parts of the rig, and I'm going to explain to you why I put them on there and what I use them for. First though, I want to give you a little bit of advice as far as video equipment for YouTube goes. If you're just starting out and you're starting your YouTube journey and you started a channel and you're wanting to do cinematic video and put it on YouTube for people to watch, there are tons of videos out there that will tell you that you can start with your iPhone. And I agree with them wholeheartedly. The iPhone or your Samsung phone, your mobile device basically has a really good camera on it. It has a really good microphone on it. And most of them can do 4K video these days. So they really are a good starting point. But if you get committed and you're going to stick to doing a YouTube channel and you're going to continue doing videos, you're going to find rather quickly that the phone isn't the best choice. The reason why I say that, your phone has a limited space, a limited amount of gigabytes of space to be able to hold the videos that you're taking. And getting the videos from your phone to your laptop or to your PC to be able to edit them can sometimes become a pain in the butt. Also, you can run out of space while you're out doing videos and things of that nature on your phone. So it's a good starting point, but if you're planning on being committed, you need to go a little bit further. Now, my advice is buy the best you can afford. And there's a motive behind this madness. It'll save you money in the long run, folks. If you do what I did, okay, which is start out with your phone. I started out with my iPhone and it worked well. But I decided the type of videos I was doing, I needed some sort of gimbal support for the camera, for the phone itself. So I went out and I purchased the DJI Osmo 5, I think it was, and that thing was great. Okay, it works extremely well with the phone. It syncs up with the phone well, it stabilizes the phone well, and the video was really good. But I was still limited to the amount of video that I could actually take on my phone without having some kind of expansion. And again, it was a pain in the butt getting the videos off of the camera onto my laptop to be able to do the editing. So I started looking around and doing some research, and I was being cheap. I was being extremely cheap. I didn't want to spend a ton of money, even though I knew I was going to be committed to the channel and committed to continuing doing the videos and posting them on YouTube. But I didn't want to spend a ton of money because I didn't want my wife getting mad at me for spending a bunch of money on camera equipment. So the first thing I did is I started looking at eBay. And I started looking at the things that were available on eBay for decent price. The first thing I ended up purchasing was a GoPro. The GoPro Hero, I think this was the 6 or 7. And it worked okay, but the video was lacking. It didn't do 4K, it only did 1080, and it was really cheap on eBay because GoPro's come a long way since. Second thing I purchased was a DJI Pocket 1, and I got this relatively cheap on eBay. This thing worked great. Okay, it's a nice little device. It takes 4K video. It has the gimbal on it, so the gimbal keeps everything nice and stabilized, and it worked pretty well. I used it for several videos along the way, and it worked pretty well for me. The video was pretty decent, the stabilization was great, but this thing was really delicate, and I always felt like I was going to break it because it was so delicate, so I always had to treat it real gently when I was out and about. And I just still wasn't satisfied with the video. So the next thing I did is I went out on eBay again and did some research, and I bought this device, which is the DJI Osmo. And it worked pretty well, but the bad thing about this device is I still had to hook my phone up to it. And I kind of felt if I was going to be hooking my phone up to the device and having to utilize my phone along with the device, I'd probably be better off with the Osmo 5 that I purchased in the beginning. So I used this only a couple times. It actually takes pretty good video. It stabilizes really well. It has the gimbal on it built in. I just wish it had a monitor on it, because if it had a monitor on it, it would have made the device totally usable. And heck, I might have stopped there, because it does 4K video at 60 frames per second. I got this relatively cheap on eBay. But again, it fell to the wayside. The next thing I purchased, because I wanted my video to look better, I got on eBay again, and I decided to go to Amazon, and Amazon had on special on a Black Friday, and I ended up purchasing the Lumix, Panasonic Lumix G95 camera. Now this thing does 4K, it does great video, but it's only 8-bit video. And it left a little bit to be desired for me again. So what I do next? Well, the next camera I went out and bought was the Panasonic Lumix GH6. That's what I'm filming on today. That camera is an outstanding camera. All around, does great video, records all the way up to 5.8K. It does C4K at 60 frames a second. It has ProRes. It has a CF Express card for the SD card. So it's an extremely all-around excellent video camera. I can't say enough about the Lumix GH6. I wish that in the beginning I would have started with that camera, because had I had started with that camera, I wouldn't have bought all of this, and it would have saved me a ton of money along the way. The money I spent on all of this would have essentially pretty much paid for the GH6. So again, I wish after the iPhone I would have given it good thought, done my research, and went out and bought the GH6, and it would have saved me a lot of money, and I would have had better video quality all along the way. The next step on my camera adventure, I should say, was the GoPro 11 Black. I wanted something small that I could vlog with in the vehicle when I was driving down the road, something that I could carry through the trails when we're doing the videos, and I didn't want to continue to use my Pocket 1. Now at the same time, the GoPro 11 was out before the Pocket 3, and I thought about getting the DJI Pocket 3. But again, it has a gimbal like this one does, which is very delicate, and I just felt that I wanted to get something that was a little bit more durable. We do our videos out in the woods, hiking on trails and things of that nature. So I wanted something that was a little bit more durable, something that when I turned it off, I could just stick in my pocket without having to worry about breaking the gimbal on the device. So I went with the GoPro 11 Black. It records all the way up to 5.3K at 30 frames per second. It does a great job for what I purchased it for, which is that vlogging purpose. And I also found some other uses for it because it's waterproof. I can use it in water shots around rivers, actually stick it under the water. So it gave me some more options as far as creativity goes on the videos. So this one I don't regret purchasing. The GH6 I do not regret purchasing. Now, when I was out doing videos in the woods and doing the cinematic type videos we do here on Rooster's Road Trips with the GH6, I needed to get a gimbal for it. So I went out and I got the DJI SC gimbal, and this gimbal works extremely well with the GH6. It takes the weight of the GH6 very well. It keeps the camera stabilized. It works very well. I can't say anything but good about the Ronin SC from DJI. Now, I was using the GH6 exclusively when out doing the video or cinematic videos out in the woods and things of that nature. But I started doing videos indoors as well. Started using the camera for doing inside videos where the light conditions were low. Low light conditions weren't working really well with the GH6. It performs extremely well everywhere, and it even does pretty good in low light actually, but it wasn't up to my expectations when I was doing those types of videos. So I wanted a full frame camera. Now, I've had good luck with the GH6 and I loved it, and decided that I was going to stick with the Panasonic Lumix brand. So I went out and got the Lumix S5iix. It's the brother of the S5 II, but the X is designed a little bit more for video. So I went out and decided I was going to go ahead and get one of those. I did. I purchased the camera, and so far I love the camera. It's performing fantastically. But I tried to put that camera with a heavier full frame lens on the SC gimbal, and quickly found out that that gimbal can't handle the amount of weight from the full frame lenses. So I had to buy another gimbal as well. You see where this is going, folks. That's why I said at the beginning of the video, you definitely want to make sure that you buy the best you can afford. Don't take food off your kid's table, off your kid's plate, and starve your children to buy it, but always buy the best you can afford, because you'll bypass a whole lot of expense along the way. Now, this is where this comes in. This is the video rig I was talking about in the beginning of the video. It's my Panasonic Lumix S5iix camera. I have a small rig, Black Mama cage on that. The cage allows you to hook other accessories to it, like the SSD over here. I have a small rig SSD enclosure. I have a Western Digital Black 1 terabyte NVMe drive in that enclosure. That allows me to record ProRes at 5.7K at 30 frames a second on the drive, and have a lot of space to be able to hold the videos. Also, the enclosure allows you to pop the SSD drive out quickly, and you can plug it into your laptop, and you can transfer the videos to your laptop, or you can even edit the videos right on the SSD. So I highly recommend one of those. I have a basic little LED fill light up here on top of the camera. Right now, currently, the camera has a 2060 kit lens on it. I also have a f1.7 50mm lens that I have for the camera too, but I kind of like the zoom lens on it because it gives me the options of having the multiple focal distances I can use. The camera is mounted on the DJI Ronin RS3 Pro. I went all out for the gimbal, and this gimbal is just excellent, folks. It's easy to balance. It'll accept the heavier cameras, and it works great. It works flawlessly, as good as the SC does. I can't say enough about DJI products. They actually, for the money you pay for the products, they work extremely well. Now, the gimbal has a briefcase handle on it, as you can see. It has a tripod on the bottom that folds out so you can stand it up. It's just a great all-around gimbal. The gimbal is digital. It has a digital readout over here. It has the joystick for you to be able to control the gimbal, and many different modes, but it just works really good, folks. I'm going to turn it on real quick here, and this one actually folds out on its own and unlocks all the axes. Now, you can see I can move this camera around with the light on it and everything, and it keeps the camera level, and it keeps it from shaking and the whole deals. So if you are going to do cinematic video outdoors, or a lot of cinematic type video, I highly recommend a camera gimbal combination. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Panasonic Lumix camera or the DJI Ronin. There's many different brands out there that make them, but I have found that this combination works extremely well, and I'm very, very satisfied with it. The joystick, you can move the camera around utilizing the joystick. There's an app that comes along with the gimbal itself too, to let you connect your phone to the gimbal. You can move the camera around with the phone and not even have to touch the camera. I just highly recommend it if you're going to be doing any type of cinematic video. A camera gimbal combination, you really can't go wrong with if you're doing cinematic type video. One of the other things I have on this gimbal is the focus motor. The focus motor hooks up to the gimbal, and what that allows me to do is I've hooked the focus motor up to the zoom on the lens, so I can utilize the dial that's on the gimbal and change the focal length just by moving that dial back and forth. I find that to be extremely well. I use the autofocus feature on the camera itself, so I don't use the focus motor for its purpose, which is for focusing. I use it for the zoom, and it works real well for that situation. So I can show you the different items that are on the rig that I think makes it a complete rig. One is that focus motor I was talking about. The SSD, I highly recommend. The other thing that is on this rig is a monitor. Got this attachment here, a monitor attachment from Small Rig. It attaches right to the gimbal and allows me to mount this Freewell monitor on there. Now the Freewell monitor uses batteries, it's battery operated, and it can actually even feed power to the camera if you needed to. It connects by HDMI into the HDMI port of the camera and the HDMI port on the monitor itself. I'll go ahead and turn the monitor on. I don't know if you'll be able to see it very well, but the Freewell monitor works pretty good. It wasn't overly expensive, but what that allows you to do, it allows you to get a good view of your camera and what your camera is looking at, because you can't always see the little screen on the back. So the big monitor helps out extremely well. It has a lot of things like focus peaking on the monitor. It allows you to, makes everything more creative for you. It gives you better options and a lot better view of what your camera is actually pointing at. That's important when you're doing video. And lastly, I normally keep a little fill light on top of here now. It's a little LED fill light made by VGem. I got that extremely cheap. I bought 2 of them on Amazon and they work really well. So folks, that's pretty much the entire rig. I can't recommend enough this setup, the Lumix cameras. I really like them for video. The S5iix has been performing extremely well, and with the full-size sensor, it works great in low light conditions, and it also gives you that great bokeh and blurred background that you kind of want in some of your cinematic shots. Again, if you're just starting, an iPhone is great, but if you're going to commit, make sure you buy the best you can afford, so you don't end up with this pile of stuff over here that you paid a bunch of money for and it's just going to sit around and gather dust. I guess I should probably sell all this stuff on eBay, but at this point I wouldn't get a ton of money for them on eBay because it's all kind of outdated. It was outdated when I bought it. I highly recommend you buy the best you can afford. I hope you found this video informational and liked it, and if you did, please click the like button down below, and if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit that shutter button below on that subscribe button so you don't miss any other great information from us in the future. And until next time, this is Camera Corner.